Hi guys, welcome in. Welcome back, guys. I've got you guys again the neon glowing names for my subscribers. Subscribe and drop your name in the comments. Welcome in, everybody. All right, everybody hit that subscribe button and drop your names in the comments. Welcome in. All right, just give me a second, everybody. Just give me a second. I just need to see something. All right, then we got is first we have is Jeremiah. Welcome in. Here you go. Everybody, welcome in. Hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's go. Get your neon names, everybody. Here you go. Who is next, everybody? Let's go. Then we have is Ava. Thank you so much. Ava, this one is for you. Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys, and get your names done. Who is next, you all? Everybody, welcome in. All right, who is next, guys? Everybody, welcome to my live, guys. We are doing neon names for my subscribers. So hit that subscribe button, guys, and get your names down. Welcome to my live, everybody. All right, who is next, you all? Everybody, welcome in. Thank you so much for liking. Hi, Grace. Here you go, Grace. How are you doing today, Grace? Welcome to my live. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Grace. Has your neon glowing name. Who is next, everybody? Welcome in. Let's go, guys. Welcome to my live, everybody. Then we have is Arena. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go. All right, who wants a glowing neon name, guys? Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys. All right, then we've got is Bryant. Welcome back. I'm so happy to see you. Here you go, Bryant. Thank you so much. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's go. Then we've got is who is that? John. Welcome in, John. Thank you so much for subscribing, John. Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys, and let's go. Welcome in, Laura. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Laura. Your glowing name. Who's next, guys? Everybody, welcome in. Then we got Pickles. All right, Pickles. Here you go. Is that a name though? Everybody, welcome in, guys. Subscribe and get your neon names done, guys. Everybody, welcome in. Who's next, you guys? Everybody, let's go, guys. Who is next? Everybody, drop your names in the comments. Then we have is who is that? Come on, Grace, don't give me that, please. Let's go, everybody. Drop your names, guys, in the comments. Everybody, welcome to my live, guys. Drop your names and hit the subscribe button, guys. These are neon glowing names for my subscribers. We've got Kyla. Thank you so much. Here you go, Kyla. All right, guys, give me names, everybody, okay? Let's go, Najwa. Welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing, Najwa. Then we have is Cora. Thank you so much for subscribing, Cora. Here is your neon glowing name. All right, then we pick is who is that? Thank you, Kyla. Then we got Emmy. All right. Here you go, Emmy. Who's next? You all welcome in. Then we've got is Alia. Thank you so much. Welcome back. Everybody, welcome in. Drop your name in the comments. Thank you so much for liking. Let's go, guys. Then we have is Caitlin. Okay, Caitlin, here you go. All right, who is next, guys? Everybody, welcome in. Hit that subscribe button, guys, and let's go. Who's next, guys? Everybody, welcome in. Drop your names in the comments, guys. Then we've got Edward. Welcome in, Edward. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys, and let's go get your names done. Hi, Camilla. Here you go, Camilla. All right, who's next? Please, next subscriber, guys. Come on. Who's next? Jordan is next. Thank you so much, Jordan. Here you go, Jordan. All right, who's next, guys? Welcome in. Welcome to my live, guys. Hit that subscribe button and get your names done, guys. You're welcome. Remy, welcome in. Here you go, Remy. All right, let's get to the next line, guys. Then we have Cassidy. Welcome in, Cassidy. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. All right, the next subscriber is Theodore. Here you go, Theodore. Thank you so much. All right, then we have is Brian. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Brian. Who is next to you all? Then we've got is Kayana. Welcome in, Kayana. Here you go. Who's next, guys? Then we've got is Sophie. Welcome in, Sophie. Here you go, Sophie. Thank you so much for subscribing. And then we have is Lexi. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go. Who's next, you guys? You're welcome. Everybody, welcome in. Drop your names, guys. Let's go. Charmaine, welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys, and drop your names. Okay, then we have is Jayla is the next subscriber. Hey, go Jayla. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Who is next, everybody? Welcome in, Malashi. Hey, go Malashi. Welcome to my live, guys. Please hit that subscribe button, guys, and drop your names. Then we've got Riley. Hey, go Riley. Thank you so much. Everybody, please drop your names in the comments. Once you subscribe, you can get your neon names done. Once you just type in your name, guys, just like Ryan, guys. Thank you so much, Ryan. Okay, then we have is Weston with the heart. Thank you so much, Weston. Here you go. Next we have is Ellie. Welcome in, Ellie. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Ellie. Then we have is Leah. Thank you so much for subscribing, Leah. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys, and let's go. Then we've got is Ellie again. Welcome in. Next we have is Matilda. Welcome in, Matilda. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Matilda. All right, who's next, guys? Then we've got is Mariam. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mariam. I really appreciate you for that. And then we have is Charlie. Hey, go Charlie. Thank you so much for subscribing, Charlie. All right, let's get to the next line, guys. Welcome to my live, everybody. Get your glowing names, guys. Then we have is Rosa. Thank you so much for subscribing, Rosa. Here you go. All right, then we have is Bailey. Welcome in, Bailey. Thank you so much for subscribing, Bailey. Have an amazing day. Then we have is Tills. Here you go, Tills. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Next we've got is Capri. Welcome in, Capri. Thank you so much for subscribing, Capri. All right, then we have is Melissa. Welcome in, Melissa. Thank you so much for subscribing. All right, then we have is Kaki. Welcome in, Kaki. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. All right, then we have is Nolan. Welcome in, Nolan. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nolan. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys. And we've got Prameez. Here you go, Prameez. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. All right, then we have is Matilda. Welcome in, Matilda. Thank you so much for subscribing. Here you go, Matilda, your glowing neon name. Andra, welcome in. Here you go, Andra. Thank you so much for subscribing. Next we have is, who's that? Mackenzie. Welcome in, Mackenzie. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Thank you so much for tapping. Then we've got is, who's that? Muhammad. Welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing. All right, then who do we have, guys? Then we have is Chloe. Thank you so much, Chloe, for subscribing. Okay, then we've got is Chase. Here you go, Chase. Thank you for subscribing, Chase. Then we have is Fernanda. Welcome in, Fernanda. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Let's go. Then we have is Allison. Welcome in, Allison. Thank you so much for subscribing, Allison. Here you go. Then we've got is Ridwan. Here you go, Ridwan. All right, let's get to change the page, guys. Welcome in. All right, let's go, guys. Everybody, welcome to my live, guys. Then we have is Charlotte. Welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing, Charlotte. Here you go. And then we have is Alexa. There you go, Alexa. And then we have is Willow. Thank you so much for subscribing, Willow. I really appreciate that. Then we have Thiago. Welcome in, Thiago. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody, please hit that subscribe button, guys. Then we have is Elia. And please, type in your names in the comments, guys. Once you type in your names, I'm gonna try my best to do it. Gathel, welcome in. Next we've got is Justin. Welcome in, Justin. How are you doing today? Here you go, Justin. Okay, then we have is Rehan. Welcome in, Rehan. Thank you so much for subscribing, Rehan. Then we have is Chloe. Welcome in, Chloe. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have is Hisham. Welcome in, Hisham. Thank you so much for subscribing. Everybody, please subscribe and drop your names. All right, then we have is who's that? Welcome in. Then we've got another Chloe with a different spelling, I guess. Here you go. All right, who's next, guys? Everybody, welcome in. Then we've got is Kazia. Welcome in, Kazia. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have is Olivia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Olivia. Next we have is Ridwan. Thank you, Ridwan. Alright, then we have is the next subscriber to be Winter. Hey, go Winter. Thank you so much. Then we've got is Ava. Thank you so much, Ava. Here's your glowing neon name. Okay, then we've got is Abdul. Welcome in, Abdul. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Alright, then we've got Kenaja. Welcome in, Kenaja. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kenaja. Alright, who is next, guys? Then we have is who's that? Riri. Thank you so much for subscribing, Riri. Alright, let's get to the next line, guys. Everybody get your glowing names done. Then we've got Mara. Thank you so much, Mara. Here you go. Then we have is Emilia. Thank you. Here you go, Emilia. This is your glowing neon name. Then we've got is Farah. Thank you so much, Farah. Who is next, guys? Everybody bring on names. Then we have is Sela. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sela. Alright, then we've got is Lily. Welcome in, Lily. Here you go. Alright, then we have is Gazel. Thank you so much for subscribing, Gazel. Everybody get your neon names, guys. Just hit that subscribe button, guys. And let's go, Ariel. Welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ariel. Then we have is Valeria. Thank you so much, Valeria. There you go, Valeria. Next we've got is Ivana. Thank you, Ivana. There you go, Ivana. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Zeph. Thank you, Zeph, for subscribing. Then we have is Yasmin. Welcome in, Yasmin. Thank you so much for subscribing, Yasmin. Then we have is Christina. Thank you so much, Christina. Thank you for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Mia. Welcome in, Mia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Mia. Alright, then we have is Cassidy. Here you go, Cassidy. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. And next we've got is Alizon. Welcome back, Alizon. So good to see you. Next we've got is Chloe. Here you go, Chloe. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Emma. Thank you, Emma, for subscribing. And then we have is Adriana. Thank you, Adriana, for subscribing to me. Alright, who's next, guys? Everybody, welcome to my live, guys. Get your neon names done, guys. And then we have is Luna. Welcome to my live, Luna. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Andy. Welcome in, Andy. Then we have is Sarah. Thank you so much for subscribing, Sarah. Then we've got is Beckham. Welcome in, Beckham. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Beckham. Then we have is Maddie, welcome in Maddie. Thank you so much, Maddie, for subscribing to me. All right, then we have is Lily. Welcome in Lily. Thank you so much. All right, then we have is True. Welcome in True. Thank you so much for subscribing, True. Then we have is I love you too, Myra. Thank you. Here you go, Myra. All right, then we have is Kaylee. Welcome in, Kaylee. Thank you so much for subscribing, Kaylee. Here you go. Then we have is Lily. Here you go, Lily, with two L's. Here you go. All right, then we've got is Ronza. Welcome in, Ronza. Thank you so much for subscribing, Ronza. Next we've is Brian. Welcome in, Brian. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Brian. All right, then we've got is who's that? Matilda. Welcome in, Matilda. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Matilda. Thank you. All right, then we've got is Zemania. Welcome in, Zemania. Thank you so much, Zemania, for subscribing to me. All right, then we have is Sidaria. Welcome in, Sidaria. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Sidaria. Then we have is Time. Welcome in, Time. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Time. Next we got is Gracie. Welcome in, Gracie. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Gracie. Then we've got is Livy. Welcome in, Livy. Thank you so much for subscribing, Livy. All right, let's change the page, guys. Just give me a moment. All right, let's go, guys. Welcome in, everybody. Then we have is Nia. Welcome in, Nia. Thank you so much for subscribing, Nia. All right, then we have is Fian. Welcome in, Fian. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Fian. Next we've got is Brandon. Welcome in, Brandon. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Brandon. Then we have is Alessandra. Thank you so much, Alessandra, for subscribing to me. Thank you. Here's your name. Next we have is Crystal. Welcome in, Crystal. Thank you so much for subscribing, Crystal. All right, then we have is Noor. Welcome in, Noor. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Noor. Then we've got is Matilda. Welcome in, Matilda. Thank you so much for subscribing, Matilda. All right, then we have is Carlos. Welcome in, Carlos. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Naila. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Naila. Thank you so much. All right, then we have is Nail. Thank you so much, Nail, for subscribing to me. Then we have is Najwa. Thank you for the sub, Najwa. Everybody, please subscribe and drop your name in the comments. Then we've got Lottie. Welcome in, Lottie. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Lottie. Thank you, Ali, for the subscribe. Thank you. Next we've got is Addison. Thank you so much, Addison, for the subscribe. Then we have is Mattel. Welcome in, Mattel. Thank you so much, Mattel. All right, then we have is Joanna. Thank you so much, Joanna. Thank you so much for the subscribe, Joanna. Next we've got is Milan. Thank you so much, Milan, for the subscribe. All right, then we have is Joy. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the sub. Let's go, everybody. Welcome to my live. Next we've got is who's that? Maya. Welcome in, Maya. Thank you so much for subscribing, Maya. Then we have is Aya. Okay, hey go Aya. Thank you so much for the sub. All right, then we have is Jackie. Thank you so much, Jackie, for the subscribe. Here you go, Jackie. Next we've got is Fatima. Thank you so much, Fatima, for the subscribe. Then we have is Vietnam. Welcome in, Vietnam. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Next we've got is Samir. Thank you so much, Samir, for the subscribe. Let's go, guys. Everybody hit that subscribe button, guys. And then we've got Sabrina. Welcome in, Sabrina. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Sabrina. All right, then we've got Bella. Welcome in, Bella. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we have is Maddie. Welcome in, Maddie. Thank you so much for subscribing. Thank you so much. Kalasia, welcome in. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have is Isabella. Welcome in, Isabella. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Isabella. Then we have is Madison. Thank you so much. My name is Mira. Here you go, Madison. Then we have is who's that? Dylan. Welcome in, Dylan. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Dylan. Then we've got is Charlie. Thank you so much, Charlie, for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Camilla. Welcome in, Camilla. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got Athena. Here's your neon name, Athena. Thank you. Then we have is Cam. Welcome in, Cam. Thank you so much. Then we have is Lily. Thank you so much for subscribing, Lily. Thank you. Let's get to the next line, guys. Everybody, welcome to my live, guys. Hi, Kate. Welcome in. Here you go, Kate. All right, then we have is Aylin. All right, Aylin. Thank you so much for subscribing, Aylin. Then we have is Amir. Welcome in, Amir. Thank you so much for subscribing, Amir. Next we've got is who's that? Mikaria. Welcome in, Mikaria. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got is Maria. Welcome in, Maria. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Maria. Welcome to my live, Harper. Welcome in. Thank you so much for the subscribe, Harper. Then we have is Summer. Welcome in, Summer. Thank you so much for subscribing, Summer. Here's your neon name. Then we have is Harper. Thank you, Harper. Welcome to my live, Harper. Next we've got Cassidy. Welcome in, Cassidy. Thank you so much for subscribing, Cassidy. Then we've got is Olive. Thank you, Olive, for the subscribe. Here you go, Olive. Then we have is Natalie. Thank you, Natalie, for the subscribe. Here you go, Natalie. Then we have is Zaria. Thank you so much, Zaria, for the subscribe. Next we've got is Olivia. I do remember you. Hi, Lean. Welcome in. All right, then we have is Winter. Welcome in, Winter. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Next we've got Xavian. Thank you so much, Xavian, for the subscribe. Then we've got Kanaya. Thank you, Kanaya, for the subscribe. Okay, then we've got is Aubrey. Welcome in, Aubrey. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Aubrey. Then we've got is Safa. Thank you so much, Safa, for the subscribe. All right, then we have is Naomi. Thank you, Naomi, for the subscribe. All right, let me change the page, guys. Welcome in. Okay, who's next, guys? Everybody welcome in. We're doing neon name writing, guys. Then we've got Aileen. Welcome back, Aileen. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Here you go. Then we have is Ragged. Welcome in, Ragged. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Ragged. Then we have is Salma. Thank you, Salma, for the subscribe. Here you go. Then we have is Sebastian. Welcome in, Sebastian. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Here you go. Then we have is Alice. Thank you so much, Alice, for the subscribe. Thank you. Then we have is Ariana. Thank you so much, Ariana. Thank you so much for the subscribe. All right, then next we've got is Alessa. Welcome in, Alessa. Thank you so much for the subscribe. Thank you so much, Andy. Welcome in. Thank you for the subscribe, Andy. Then we have is Sophia. Welcome in, Sophia. Thank you so much for subscribing to me, Sophia. Then we've got is Nemo. Thank you so much, Nemo, for the subscribe. All right, then we've got is Faiza. Thank you, Faiza, for the subscribe. Here you go. Then we have is Kim. Welcome in, Kim. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have is Bilar. Welcome in, Bilar. Thank you so much for subscribing, Bilar. Then we've got is Nana. Welcome in, Nana. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we have is Ariana. Thank you, Ariana, for the subscribe. Here you go. Okay, next we've got is Alzen. Welcome in, Alzen. Thank you so much for subscribing. Next we've got is Ethel. Thank you so much. Here you go, Ethel. Welcome to my live. Then we have is Hazel. Welcome in, Hazel. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we have is Ella. Thank you, Ella, for the subscribe. Okay, let's get to the next line, guys. Welcome in. Then we've got Brylan. Welcome in, Brylan. Here you go. Thank you so much for subscribing, Brylan. Then we have is McKenna. Thank you, McKenna. Welcome to my live. Thank you so much for the subscribe. Then we have is Drew. Welcome in, Drew. Thank you so much for subscribing, Drew. Then we've got is Ania. Thank you, Ania, for the subscribe. Then we have is Lucia. Welcome in, Lucia. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we have is Layla. Thank you, Layla, for the subscribe. Next we've got is Naomi. Thank you, Naomi, for the subscribe. Okay, then we have Alicia. Welcome in, Alicia. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we've got Berkeley. Welcome in, Berkeley. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we have is Cooper. Welcome in, Cooper. Thank you so much for the subscribe, Cooper. All right, then we have is Bella. Welcome in, Bella. Thank you so much for subscribing, Bella. Next we've got is Sophia. Welcome in, Sophia. Thank you so much for the subscribe. Thank you, Savannah. Then we've got is Root. Thank you, Root, for the subscribe. Then we have is Danny. Thank you so much, Danny. Next we've got is Zulma. Welcome in, Zulma. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Then we have is Anna Liz. Thank you so much for subscribing, Anna Liz. Next we've got is Sienna. Thank you, Sienna, for the subscribe. Here you go, Sienna. Then we have is Julian. Welcome in, Julian. Thank you so much for subscribing. Okay, then we have is Jalen. Thank you, Jalen, for subscribing to me. Welcome in, Farah. Thank you so much for subscribing, Farah. Okay, then we've got Jordan. Welcome in, Jordan. Thank you so much for the subscribe. Then we have is Jesse. Welcome in, Jesse. Thank you so much for subscribing, Jesse. Next we've got is Roshan. Welcome in, Roshan. Thank you so much for subscribing. Then we've got is Layla. Thank you so much, Layla, for the subscribe. Then we have is Jayla. Welcome in, Jayla. Thank you for the subscribe. Then we have is Angelus. Welcome in, Angelus. Thank you so much for subscribing to me. Okay, then we've got is Brooke. Thank you, Brooke, for the subscribe. Here you go, Brooke. Then we have is Olivia.